Hi, and thanks for coming into part 4 of our ditch bag, bug out bag series on what you need for your family, or what I need for my family to make sure that they're going to be eating warm, healthy, happy as possible in any sort of situation, whether it be a natural disaster or the house burns down or anything that happens. I know that everything that we've got, we've prepared for, and it's been a minimal amount of work. And all 4 of us, probably including the cat, are going to be well taken care of until things get back to normal. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about bags and clothes and kind of what I've got packed for the family and how I think it's going to work for wherever we go, whether it's the High Sierra or the mountains or relatively like, top of the Coquihalla or Kamloops or in any type of weather. So first of all, we're going to discuss the bags. These are the bags that we use for all of our clothes. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but the black on the bottom, it's waterproofing. So it's a waterproof fabric membrane that's on the bottom. So if it's snow or the ground's wet, the bag can be sitting on the ground and it's not going to penetrate through the cordura and into our clothes or into anything inside. Even though we have our clothes in Ziploc bags, it's just an extra added layer. On this end here, it's a sideways container area for the bag, and for me, in mine, I have a set of combat boots or hiking boots that I have in here. Now, everybody obviously wears different things, and I wear these kind of boots because they're comfortable. I can hike in them, I can walk in rocks, I can walk in water, I can do anything. And I know that they're fast drying. These are actually, I think they call them Redhead. These are Redhead. I got them at Bass Pro. They were $89. They are absolutely some of the best combat boots I've ever worn. Obviously, like I said, I've relaced all my boots, but they are absolutely fantastic. And this boot weighs as much as my sneaker. So it's a very, very light, durable boot. The boots that you saw earlier in our, I guess it was our first video, those are actual, I think they call them SR2s, and they're Rocky Mountain boots. They're more of an ankle support. They're what I use for hunting, things like that, anywhere where there's a lot of rock or I need ankle support so I'm not going to twist my ankle. So these bags also have a shoulder strap, so they can be moved via shoulder, like just slinging it onto your shoulder. And they also have backs, these pieces here, which are the shoulder straps, which obviously you're going to wear it like a backpack, right? So they also have the side ones where, you can carry it just like a regular piece of luggage. They're great bags. They're 500 Cordura, which is a really durable Cordura. There's pockets everywhere. And as you see on this one, there's actually internal pockets as well. So whatever you're trying to keep in here, this one's here, this one's down here. A really, really quality made bag. I think they're made by Condor. So now inside, everything comes in a Ziploc. Now, before we really go crazy about what to pack, from experience, the main things that you, in my opinion, need to think about more than anything else are underwear and socks. And for women, bras, underwear, and socks. Now, I'm not talking about nylon socks, I'm talking about actual real sport socks, because you're going to be doing a lot of walking, you're not going to be in your vehicles very much. Socks and underwear. And those are the things that you wear the most. You want them to be comfortable, you want them to be in good shape, because you don't know how long you're going to be wearing them for, and you want them to be small and light and easy to wash. Personally, jockey underwear for me and Champion socks, all cotton, and they're great. Just a word to the wise, obviously, as everybody knows, change your underwear at least once every 2 days. Being at home every day, obviously, sometimes you get that option and you might only have 3 or 4 pairs. Think about it, wear them for 2 days at a maximum and wash them, air dry them. Socks change every day regardless of anything. If you get like swamp foot, essentially, like your feet sweat a lot and that moisture goes into your skin and you start getting rashes and you get like foot rot, that's not going to be fun. You can't walk, and it's something that you just have to let heal. Pants, you only need 2 pairs of pants. Don't pack like you're going to be changing your pants every day. I have a pair of Eddie Bauer pants that are a really light pant. They dry within 2 hours just in the air. And I have a thicker pair of ripstop pants. So if they rip, they're very easy to stitch together, that turn into shorts. So not only are both of these shorts and pants, they're very, very quick drying. So that for me, for a prerequisite for pants, it's kind of one of those things. T-shirts, 3 cotton t-shirts. I don't need more than that. If I wear one and it gets dirty, I wash it, I hang it out to dry, and it's ready for the next day and it's ready to go. And this one, which is a hoodie, it's an extra hoodie and it's a thicker style. It's a tighter fitting, thicker style hoodie. When you're out there, wherever you are, whether you're hunting, you're in the bush, you're camping, think about layers. You've got a t-shirt, maybe a long sleeve t-shirt, a short sleeve t-shirt. If you can, mix it up a bit. A hoodie will always go well under a windbreaker jacket like this. This is just a nylon wind resistant jacket by Helicon. One of the best jackets I've ever owned. It's mil-spec, which means it's got a hood in the back. It's durable, it's lined, it's absolutely an amazing jacket, and it's made to military standards. So it's a very, very durable jacket. This is a fleece jacket that I have. It's also by Helicon, which is the Patriot Heavy Fleece. Between this and that hoodie, or a long sleeve t-shirt, that hoodie, and this, I'm going to be so warm that I'm going to be taking, things off. Now, one of the things that I've experienced is someone back in the, I guess, early 90s showed me a jacket that they had from Europe, and it had venting under the arms, which is absolutely amazing. Your underarms and your crotch are your 2 hottest points on your body. So if you're trying to get rid of a little bit of heat out of your body without taking off your jacket, obviously opening one of these up is huge. Lots of pockets, really thick, really durable. I'm not trying to say that Helicon is what you need to buy. I'm saying for me personally, and I have certain standards for what I like, Helicon for me is probably one of the best jackets I've ever owned for the price point. You can buy Patagonia or Artrex or whatever, and I'm sure that they're good jackets. For me, I'm not going to spend $500 on a jacket. I don't see the point in it. Other than that, that's how I have packed my bag. For essentially, I can wear all of this and use all of this constantly until it's threadbare and I'm out of clothes. Like, they've just literally fallen off my body from being worn so much. Now, for the kids, obviously you never know when anything's going to happen where you got to get out of the city. But when it comes down to it, think a little bit bigger. So if you've got 2 kids and they're different sizes, maybe pack a little bit extra for the big kid because the smaller kid can grow into it. But label everything. This one's for my daughter Sophia. Alex's stuff is in here. Lots of socks, lots of underwear. My wife's stuff is in here as well. Pants, jeans, which although I don't recommend using jeans as an actual pant, they do retain heat, so it's good in some instances. Remember that if they get wet, not only do they get really heavy, but they take a long time to dry. Jackets, obviously the fleeces, 2 for each daughter, which honestly is a bit excessive, but as they're growing and as we've got the space, we're using that. We've got, my wife's got 1. She's also got jackets that fit over her fleece. And then these, which we all have in our family, is the feather jackets. Now, they pack up really small, like I can even squish these smaller. And they're great. They keep the girls warm. They fold into the hoods, and there you go. Now, they are great jackets. They're really, really light. They're very, very small to pack up, and they keep the kids warm. Now, wearing something underneath this, like one of their hoodies and this, is going to be fantastic. And depending on how cold the weather is, whether you're in a sleeping bag or not, it's fantastic. So that's kind of how we've set up the kids. Now, one thing that my wife is keen to point out, we packed these bags, I want to say last summer or last September. Now, my kids have grown. My wife and I haven't, so ours aren't really a concern. But my youngest and my oldest have grown at least a couple of inches. So, even now, my wife's, looking at me knowing that she has to reevaluate all the clothing that's been put in here. So, going a little bit farther and past this now, it's the one thing that you need to remember. We're going to get into just blankets and some general warmth ideas. This is a poncho liner from the U.S. military. I call it a whoobie. It's been around for a long time. We have numerous ones for the kids and for myself. It is an absolute... I can't even describe how amazing this blanket is. It's horrible looking. I actually have one that's older than this. The thing about it is when you're cold, it'll make you warm. And when you're warm, it'll make you cool. And I have no idea what it's filled with. I'm imagining probably pixie dust or something from unicorns, but who knows what it's made out of. It is an absolute phenomenal blanket. You can get them for about $50. They can roll up super, super small. They've got laces so you can tie them onto trees to build canopies. It is probably one of the best investments and the best piece of kit that I've had for years and years. Towels, you need 3 towels. You can get the high, expensive ones that are, the high drying and the absorbent ones, but really 3 towels, hang them to dry, wash them regularly, and you'll be fine. And if you have space for extra blankets, definitely take them. Just remember, you're going to have a lot of gear, and you've only got a limited amount of space in your car. The big part of it is you're hoping only to be going for a week. You're only hoping to go for a day or two until things get back to normal. That might not be the case. You might be out there or somewhere where you're not used to, or living, the worst case scenario is you're living in the bush and you're beside a stream and you have a tent and you're managing. The best case scenario is something happens in the Lower Mainland and you end up in Kamloops living in a gym at a school. But all of this is relative to wherever you go. Like, say you're living in a gym in Kamloops at a school, but there's 2 feet of snow outside and it's minus 30 degrees. You've got your fleece, you've got your multiple layers, you've got all your clothes. You're not a big burden on anybody because you're using your clothes, you're reusing your clothes. They're easy to dry, they're easy to wash in a sink, in the school cafeteria or in the school bathroom. Anywhere that you can, just give them a quick scrub, let them dry. You're that much farther ahead than all of the people that aren't prepared. Now, I always, bring up this point. For me, this is important for my family and for my kids. That's just the way that I look at it. There isn't an amount of money that I wouldn't spend to make sure that they were safe. So how you do it, completely up to you. It is a dollar amount. Obviously, these bags are about $100 each. My backpack is about $69. There's a couple $100 right there in bags, but they're packed for exactly what we need. They're the right space. They're not too big. They're not too small. They double as backpacks. I can wear this on my back with my backpack on my front, and I can walk for as much as I need to.
If a woman also can.
Yeah, well, men or women. I mean, the point of it is I could even give my backpack to one of my daughters to carry, and my wife and I can carry these, and everything's inside that we need. And that's the huge part of it. Now, obviously, we're not going to be trying to leave our car anywhere. The premise is you always try to stay with your vehicle. But if that's not the case, then you reevaluate what you have in your bags. You repack, you leave your vehicle, you take your food, you take your things that you need, and you take the minimal amount of clothes that you need. Instead of taking 2 pieces of fleece, we take 1 piece of fleece. Take an outer jacket for each one of the people, 1 set of shoes, and away you go. Best case scenario is you have the ability to take everything with you. So with that said, the last piece that I want to talk about, and this is me personally, is first aid. And there are very good first aid kits out there, and there's really bad first aid kits out there. The ones that you see on Amazon, I don't recommend. And it's not that I have anything against them, but 92 Band-Aids, a piece of tape to wrap a gauze bandage on, and some odds and ends, they're just not going to help you. There's some things out there that are just more important than that. Surgical masks, okay, I'm not going to be creating a surgical operating room anywhere soon. Why do I have these? Because if there's contagions in the air, if there's dust particles in the air, if there's anything that's burning, all of these are going to be filtering out those. These are actual surgical masks with a very low micron. There's these things, there's sutures, there's scalpels, there's tape in here. I can close up and I can stitch up somebody's wounds if somebody cuts themselves, God forbid. Say one of our friends is cutting firewood and they cut their finger. I can give them stitches with this. There's eye wash. This is irrigation. This is sterile water. Now, all of this stuff isn't for everybody, and unless you've got some sort of training in first aid, I would suggest going with this type of an idea. This is CPR. If you don't know how to give CPR, don't use it for CPR. But essentially, this is a mouthpiece that you would put over somebody's mouth that could be sick, that could be ill, and it stops you essentially from getting any of the contagions that they have. There's surgical gloves. There's heat packs and cold packs depending on what happens if you've got a sprain or a broken ankle. Gauzes. There's splints, and as Alva comes closer to see here, biological bags. So all of this stuff, you might be thinking, wow, that's really excessive. That's crazy. Like, why does somebody need all of that stuff? I don't need all of this stuff, and God forbid that I ever have to use it on anybody. But not having it, I would be remiss with kids and a family. I don't know if you can get a picture in here. There's just some of the basics that you would need is a tourniquet. If somebody, God forbids, gets shot, gets a cut, hurts themselves with an axe and they're bleeding, you put this around their leg, you tighten it up, and it stops and it stems the blood loss. I've got a Leatherman, which is it's a Gerber. This is probably one of the best ones that I've ever had. I think it's called the Wave. Very, very good. Very ergonomic, spring loaded, so it opens by itself. There's knives, there's everything, there's a saw. Really, really good piece of kit. The reason that I've actually got it in here is because it's one of my better ones. Cool gel for anything, really. I mean, there's gauze pads here. There's a combat compress. So this is an emergency bandage. You never know. I guess that's the whole point of this, is that you never know what's going to happen. And, compress bandages, these are the sorts of things that, yes, you may never, ever need a tourniquet. Hopefully you would never, ever need to do it to somebody. But not having it is one of those things that I'm just not prepared for, I guess. I just want to make sure that if anything does happen, that I've got it all. These are tensor bandages. If one of the kids sprains their ankle, if you're walking on uneven ground, again with the emergency blankets, because hypothermia obviously is a big one, but shock. When somebody goes into shock, you want to keep them warm. Eye flush, if people get stuff in their eyes, another tensor bandage, but this is actually the tape style. So it's not that I'm trying to hand sanitizer, germs, right? People get sick. You want to be the person that's taking care of your family and not looking for others to do it. And I guess that's the bottom line and the premise. Here's another picture. So nobody that I know of my friends has this kit. The reason that I have it is that I've been trained first aid wise and other ways. So all of these things I know how to use. If you don't know how to use it, don't waste the money. Having a small first aid kit, I would say definitely have for a vehicle. I believe my wife's got one in her vehicle. All of my company trucks have first aid kits. You never know what's going to happen, but you'd be remiss to go and do anything, even camping, like just normal camping, nothing wrong camping, and not have a first aid kit with you. Those are sorts of things that you need to think about. Like I said earlier in one of the other videos, I'm not a prepper. I'm not hoping for the end of the world. I love my life. I love my house. I don't want to have to leave it. But if I do have to leave, I want to leave with as much stuff as possible that takes the minimal amount of space. And wherever we go, I can use all of this to create essentially somewhere safe, somewhere that's going to have relative happiness. Obviously, if you're all depressed and you're out and, hoping, to come back to your home, it's not going to be a fun time. You've got to make the best of whatever situation you're in. And by having all of this is going to give me my peace of mind. It's going to make my wife feel a lot more comfortable. My kids are going to be warm. They're going to be happy. They're going to be in dry clothes. And those are kind of the basic things that you need to think about if you ever have to leave your home. So in that, I'm going to say that that's going to be the end of our 4th video. If you have any questions, if you have anything to do with wanting to put a bag together, convo me or convo my wife, and we can talk about it. I can help you put one together, or we can put one together for you. Like I said earlier, I probably have $1,000 to $1,200 in equipment that we would take that's very, very small, but we would be absolutely fine with everything that we have. You could do a fairly good job for about $350 and actually be safe and secure. The food part of it obviously is something outside of the prepping side of it. But as a $350 guideline, I think you would do pretty well. Your kids would be safe, you'd be safe, and you would have everything that you'd need to be able to maintain some sort of a life with the safety of your family in mind. So with that, subscribe, hit the like button. If you have any questions, leave a comment below and we'll go from there. Thanks.